As hundreds of thousands of Nigerian youths graduate from universities over the past decades, the campaign for skill acquisition and self-reliance have been intensified by the government to encourage more Nigerians to learn skills for self-sustainability. While it has become more difficult for graduates to get jobs due to the global economic downturn, it is even more difficult for those who did not complete school or who did not see the four walls of the classrooms at all, for them to find corporate employment to make a life for themselves and their families. This is why many state governments have been trying to provide for their young people the platform for skill development with the aim of empowering them to become self-reliant. How best can the Nigerian youth be empowered for sustainable living? What is the best option for sustainable empowerment? Skills acquisition or handouts? How can Nigerian youths be positively positioned for national development? These and more questions we shall try to find answers to on Nigeria Today. I am Segun Ojelade. I'm being joined in the studio to discuss empowering Nigerian youths by two gentlemen. I have with me an entrepreneur and personal development trainer, Obinaya Orapa. I welcome you to the program.
Always my pleasure, sir.
I also have a familiar face on the program, Mr. Jide Ojo, a public affairs analyst. I welcome you also to the program.
Thanks for having me. Good evening, Nigerians.
I think I'll start with you, Obina. What is the imperative of skills acquisition for youth? Why must Nigerian youth, because of all that we are seeing today, why must they be empowered?
The reason they need to be empowered is because a Yoruba proverb will tell you that 20 children born the same year can never play together for 20 years. We're playing in the global environment. Africa has about 55 countries. The United Nations has over 160 countries in one. And if you go to Finland, teachers are elevated above almost every other person that has a vocation there. What am I trying to say? In the age where a WhatsApp Yankum, who applied for a job in Facebook and was turned down, and a few years after evolved WhatsApp, and in 2014 the same Facebook that turned him down bought over WhatsApp for $19 billion. If that's not annoying enough for you compared to the average Nigerian youth, for your information, Yankum started learning to code at the age of 18. I've gone around a few schools and I've seen young children who are coding at the age of 9. Now, as I speak to you, if that is not annoying enough for you, $19 billion is 1/10 of the GDP of Ukraine. So the question I need to ask is, Facebook between January 1 and 15 this year had made $4.16 billion alone. I'm talking about Mark Zuckerberg. Mark is barely 35, he's 33. Now the question is, how many Nigerian youths can make that kind of money at the age of 33? So it's a question of how much knowledge. You can only do so much. Someone say, one of the good books says, knowledge is profitable to direct. It's important to understand that if we don't equip our young people, they're going to keep playing second fiddle. As I speak to you, China has overtaken almost every other country to come to #1 on mathematics, and then today all we're discussing is STEM. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Okay. Are you get what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, and I'll just wrap it up by saying that if we don't give the right skills to our young people, they're going to keep playing second fiddle among their peers across the world.
Okay, you've spoken eloquently about youths, especially those of them that are educated.
Yes, sir.
But it's like Nigeria has a peculiar problem. The number of youths, Nigerian youths, that are not educated is huge. How do we relate that to empowerment, Mr. Jide Ojo? Must we empower these ones? And what kind of empowerment are we talking about for these For the educated one, okay, we can borrow some of the models that you have spoken about, technology, ICT, and how do we empower this growing number of youths that are not employed, that are not educated?
For me, education is both formal and informal. The people who classify that as not being educated are not actually uneducated.
Thank you, sir.
They are educated differently.
Yeah.
Western education is not the only parameters to measure who is educated or not. There are people who are very good technical education. They have never seen the four walls of university, but they are skilled traders, they are skilled artisans. And when you see some of them who have made success of their knowledge, God-given knowledge, you will be amazed. I mean, how many degrees does Dangote has that made him to be the richest man in Africa?
Yes.
Employing university graduates, including PhD holder, as drivers, as truck drivers. I recall 2-3 years ago where his company advertised for truck drivers, and about 15 PhD holders applied to Dangote industry to be truck drivers.
Wow.
So what are we talking about? You cannot be using Western education. How many degrees do you have? Our degrees. What is the entrepreneurial skills that we are being taught? You just had 2-3 weeks ago, the Minister of State for Education saying that they want university undergraduates to spend additional 1 year in school to be able to acquire some skills, life skills, that they can rely on after graduation. For me, I have an in-law who possibly did not even finish his secondary education. Is wealthier than I am. And what does he do? He trades.
And you are wealthy.
Well, I said wealthier than I am. I thank God for what he has made of my life. But what I'm saying in essence is that I have uncles too, who are trading, who are artisans, who are houses, who have wealth, who has cars, that I that went and have postgraduate degrees do not even have. I can't measure up to them in spite of my acquisition of Western education.
Okay. Now maybe I should make myself a little clearer. I do understand that, okay, yes, when you talk education, in fact, there are people who never went to the formal school, but with what they have upstairs, just like you are saying. But I am talking about youths that are shoemakers, wheelbarrow pushers, those of them that sell sugarcane in the market. They are huge in terms of number, and they need to be reached. One way or the other, we need to pass skills to them. We need to pass empowerment. How do we take care of this teeming number? Because at the end of the day, they are the ones that sleep outside in the open, in open shops, in uncompleted buildings. They are everywhere across this country. How do we take care of those set of people? What are the options open to our governments and the private sector?
You see, I like what Jide did to you. So you're going to tell me here on this show that my grandmother was an illiterate because she couldn't speak English. Now, I attended business school in 2012, and I keep repeating this. One of the things we're taught in business school is that in a developing economy, everybody needs at least 7 streams of income to survive.
Okay.
7. And my understanding of 7 streams is that my grandmother's backyard is her business premises. All she needed to do is, like, I went to the backyard this morning because I knew I was going to speak somewhere. And this is from my backyard in Abuja here, opposite Sodinville. This is curry leaf. But what do? We go to a supermarket and buy imported curry that you don't know where it came from. And then we keep depleting our foreign reserves. If you and I undertake to put this curry leaf in our stew, it's tastier, it's healthier, it's organic. Now, at the back of my house too, my father-in-law came around and planted a few things. This is okra. Now, with this single thing in my hand, you know, I can plant a whole plot. Give me 2 years, I can populate 1 hectare. So what am I driving at? Sir, this is onions. And I'm going to use what we have. My mentor, role model, Sam Ademi, will tell you, start with what you have. Ideas rule the world. In Smedan, sir, there's something called OLOP. One local government, one product initiative. It's been there from Dubai Adelaja to Masari to Radadiko and the rest of my friends who are there. There's something in NEPC, Nigerian Sport Promotion Council, called One State, One Product. As I speak to you today, sir, Nigeria exported, on good authority, go and verify it, exported $35 million worth of Zobo, that's hibiscus leaf. 85% of that went to one country, Mexico. How do I bring it closer home? Sir, this is onions. If my facts are not failing me, these onions could be found between Zamfara, Jigawa, and some of those states, the Sahel region. Now, you have youths who are there. Now, do you also know, sir, that 10 days out of 3 weeks in the NYSC camp, one just finished last week, that you have over, sir, in a year, about 260,000 to 300,000 core members mobilized, and they are taught entrepreneurship. Now, is there any crime, which is what we're doing with them right now, is there any crime in us calling the coppers serving in Ekiti or serving in Abia State or in Ogun State and saying, guys, your mandate for the next 12 months is to transfer this knowledge to the next person. If I am a copper serving in Jigawa and I speak Igbo, what do you think I need to do? I simply apply the interpreter model and get someone there who speaks Hausa, who understands basic English, and I transfer that knowledge to him. And the average Nigerian knows that how we grew was the adult education model, whereby him becomes the one-eyed man in the land of the blind. Okay. So we shouldn't find an excuse to say that because they don't have Western education, they cannot prosper. What I think is key is that we need to transfer entrepreneurial skills from the #1 citizen to the last person in Nigeria. Okay. We don't have it. I'll say this and I'll shut up. Sir, the white man was supposed to teach you and I 3 intelligences. One is academic knowledge, which is why you can hear me speak the English I'm speaking right now. The second one is administrative knowledge, which is why you are heading a position in where you are today. The third one is financial intelligence. The money those boys make from shoe shining and from doing all the things they do, is there financial inclusion? Do they have a bank account? Can they transfer money to you from their phones? Can they save their money? Can they invest? Can they buy shares? Can they know what to do with their money? Those are the issues that we need to deal with.
Okay, I think again, there's also the link problem. Yeah. Linking them up. Now, all this knowledge is there. Yeah. These ideas are there. Yeah. But I don't think there's anybody trying in any way to get some of these things across to them. They are on the streets. You know, this knowledge is, just like you said, is available, maybe at our backyard. But how do we link them up? Who does the link? Because the way things are today, what we are giving them may not be sustainable, may not carry them far, you know, from some of the things that we are seeing. How do we include them? How do we get them included? How do we transfer this knowledge to them and bring them out of the streets so that they can do something better with their lives, Mr. Ojo?
For me, there are different government initiatives that we need to scale up. There is, under the social investment program, there is this micro loans to artisans and market women and all of that. And if they form cooperatives, it's easier. Whether you want to even do agriculture, or you want to trade, or you want to do a plumbing association, you know, bricklaying association, you can form cooperatives. Access loans from Bank of Industry at single digits. The only thing that I think is missing that needs to be streamlined is of doing business. You know, you have to collateralize because somebody who is unlettered, you can't say go and bring CFO of your house to be able to access to. But if you can say, if you have a plot of land, that same plot of land, I can loan you 100,000 to farm on it, and that land is your collateral. Then you find a very creative way by which they get government gets its money back. I know that federal government is doing it through that social investment program. It just needs to be scaled up nationwide. You know, federal government alone cannot do all of this, and there are limited resources. I know that even the 500 billion that government claims.
States?
No, that's what I'm coming to. That's why I'm saying federal government alone cannot do it. So the states have to come up with initiatives that says, okay, form yourself into cooperatives. We are willing to give you X amount of millions of naira or billions of naira to assess, to scale up your, business or even trade. I know of people who are selling provisions, all these malams. They started off by selling, groceries. Yeah. But before you know it, through savings and loan scheme, they are able to scale up and have chains of stores. Some of them today have supermarkets all over the place. So the thing is not to be afraid of starting small.
Okay.
And form yourself into cooperative, government to engage them, and give them financial literacy that my brother here talking about. Okay. Because that financial intelligence, and this is not even limited to all those unlettered or, out of school children. Even our own children that we are training in Western education needs to have financial literacy.
Okay. Okay. The program is Nigeria Today. We are taking a look at empowering Nigerian youth. We went onto the streets during the day, and then we were able to get the views of some Nigerians on the topic we're discussing. We take those views, and then we'll be back in the studio.
I just believe there should be policies that would be placed on ground for everybody to thrive well.
There are a lot of things to be done. For example, they can open a farm for the youths. Let them start from there. They can empower them with soft loans for them to start establish themselves.
They have to give the youth like loans so that they should go into farm.
Before you reach Karshi, you can about 50 filling station inside in the road. There's not anything, just filling station. There's not anything that they have done. He said that use those filling station, open many industry to the youth. They will employ more youth. Open the industry of slippers, industry of many things. They can employ youth.
Nigerians there talking about their own impression of how Nigerian youth should be empowered. Now, Obina, you've had some Nigerians there. What many emphasize is the fact that we need to get more resources into the hands of youth, and that you can find that in some of government programs of providing loans. Now, which should come first, training before money, or vice versa? A number of initiatives now try to get money into the hands of the poor. Do we need to train them before we give financial assistance?
Yeah, the challenge I've seen in Nigeria over the years, I'm a sort of a history lecturer, and I've borrowed history for years. The challenge we have in Nigeria is we put the cat, which one is the cat before the horse?
Yes.
Sir, let's call it. Your mother did not train you to cook soup with blackboard, put water first, put firewood. No. You were mentored. You saw how to sweep the house, What we need to do is not to do emergency thinking. Nigeria is always doing vision, this one, 7 years to the time, vision 2020, vision 2000, or housing for all. No. Let's call ourselves, call Jido, call all of us, let's sit down in a round table. I remember when Akim Adesina was there, 2011, I was part of YIP, Youth Employment and Culture Program, a full-scale document that had like 12 clusters. We had a value chain mindset to that meeting. At the end of the day, the question I'm asking is, where have we taken all of that? Where even Michael Okpara had the farm settlement arrangement, where young people could do farm settlement, but there was a value chain to it. The reason you have eggs replacing meat in the menu of most secondary schools in the Southeast today is because Michael Okpara thought through it with his team. And you now have poultry at the backyard of most families in the Southeast, and I'm sure it has crisscrossed around the country, where students in dormitory could have egg in their stew and they could eat rice with it. That way you create wealth, and there is an end to where that product is going. As simple as this is, let us tell ourselves the truth. It's not because you have campaign coming and then you start doing shoe shining and still doing all manners of things. Have you read the people? A Japanese proverb said, if you give a big position to a big man, a small man, he will shrink it to his size. You give a small position to a big man, he will expand it to his size like balloon. So the simple thing is, can we tell ourselves the truth? You see this money you're talking about? What is money, sir? Well, how much money does the federal government have? You just have 9.1 trillion. At 8.4 trillion and 305 naira dummy rates to the dollar that you used to prepare the budget, you had only $23 billion. That's what you have. And we've never appropriated 100%. So the longer short of it is that, can we go back to what my brother said? Cooperatives. We call it a susu, a jo, whatever you call it. That way, friends and family, once we have done the training, you have intellectuals like Didojo who must have gone to school. A traveler is wiser than a great head man. Can they also go back and read more? If you focus on entrepreneurship for the next 21 days and you get some people to work with you, you can learn a few principles you can transfer to the next person. Government should agree that there's a lacuna in this direction. The next one is clusters, faith-based organizations, churches, mosques, and so on. If we do our little corner, government will just be the icing on the cake.
We really don't have much time, but there is a lot we still need to talk about. Now, do we need a change of mindset, especially from state governments, for instance, just like we have said? Do we need a change of mindset, orientation? Maybe there is a model the federal government is implementing now that they need to also so that we don't have a situation where, okay, all these many programs that are not, one, sustainable, they are not structure based, there is no system that backs it up, it cannot be followed tomorrow, you know, and somebody can come tomorrow and yes.
Yeah, there is a need for structures and systems to be put in place, and we should stop this shortcut method. Just get some Jews together, buy them Meshai instrument, and then oh yeah, go start your own business, or you know, shoe shining kit, and then go and start shining shoe, whether you know how to do it or not, or you buy them wheelbarrow and say okay, be using it to push. To help people at the marketplaces. Yes. That is shortcut. I'm not condemning that, you know, some people cannot benefit and make something out of their lives doing all of that. But how sustainable, like you said, do we have a structure in place? Do we have the systems in place? When this administration goes, or when the administration that initiate that policies, when it goes, does the program stay? You know, you see all of the youth empowerment schemes that come and go with their initiators. And it's because there is no structure, there is no systems, there is no legislation backing up those schemes. Now, what we need to do, there is already National the Directorate of Employment, which has been in place since the military years. Yes. Can we fund that exercise more meaningfully so that people can go and get life skills? Yes, you understand? Let a shoe shiner move to becoming a shoemaker. Thank you, sir. And when you become a shoemaker, you have more than just do 50, 20 naira shoe. Because if you are able to not only repair but also make shoes, no matter even if it's a locally made one, you have more for making shoes than for repairing and for just shining. And that's the value addition that comes with it. And why am I saying the National Directorate of Employment is already backed by legislation, but poorly funded. Now we need to properly fund that, whether through Bank of Industry or wherever, to make sure that all these our youths that are just roaming the streets and going into crimes and criminalities take advantage and learn a proper skill. And then on finishing their skill acquisition program, they are set up with proper funding through a cooperative society, in which case you are not getting just this money for free, you are paying back so that others can also take advantage and be empowered.
I must stop you in one or two sentences. Yes. What must we do? One or two sentences.
Because we too should take responsibility.
What do you mean by we?
Sir, I need to be sure that the suit I'm wearing is made in Aba.
Okay.
I need to be sure that what you're wearing is made in Kano. I need to be sure what is wearing is from Ife. The reason being that I
assure you of your own.
The young people who have already started something, are we patronizing them?
Yes.
Next one is, can we teach them to leverage social media? Sir, I have over 5,000 friends on Facebook. All I need to do is to snap what I have here and tell whoever wants curry, place order. I have done that and I've seen it happen. Okay. Then, if you are producing onions, we can become friends on social media. Okay. All I need is take the market list from his wife and I deliver onions to him. Okay. If he wants gari, I can take this gari and deliver to him. He can drink it. These are made in Nigeria. Can we buy from ourselves? Uber, sir. Uber does not own one taxi. Let's leverage technology, sir. Okay. Can we move from federal, cascade it to the states and to the local government areas? Government or no government? Who is the government? We are the government.
I must thank you. I must thank you very, very much for all that you've said on the program. The essence of this program is to throw information out there. Yeah. And I sincerely hope that we've been able to do that. I must thank you, Obina Rakwa, for your comments on the program. We wish you the very best.
My pleasure, sir.
And Mr. Jideojo, I also thank you. Your dress is quite fine. I hope it's locally made.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, this is where we call it a date on the program Nigeria Today. On behalf of my producer, Julieta, I am Shegun Ojelade saying, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.